So, lockdown is in effect again. Or is it? Because didn't Boris Johnson say a little while ago there wouldn't be a second lockdown? So, right now we are seeing a localized lockdown. Now, I think in a small country like ours, a national lockdown would be much better. And look, to be honest, it's not just because of the size of our dinky little island. It's also the fact that we don't have a track and trace program. We don't. It doesn't exist. Dido Harding can come out and say, "Oh, it's the best thing ever," parroting what Boris Johnson said, but it doesn't exist. Dido Harding herself is just grotesquely incompetent on every level. Side note, the motorcycle you just heard, my MP is more concerned with motorcycles being ridden around than her party breaking the law. Just getting that out there. So, I would support a proper lockdown because we didn't do a proper lockdown beforehand. We didn't. You look at other countries, like myself included, ridiculed Italy at the start of the pandemic because of how poorly they handled it. When you have anti-vaxxers who are in charge of your medical department, it's never going to go well. But when they locked down, they did it right. There was no fucking about. And when the sun came out and it was a little bit warm, you didn't have people flooding to the beaches. There are parts that are on us. You know, you even had the people say, "Oh, these people coming to the beaches is terrible." Okay, how far have you travelled? Oh, miles, because you don't live on the coast. I live on the coast. I didn't go to the beach. I mean, I'm ginger. It would have burnt me to a crisp. But still, there are a lot of factors that have come into play here, and it does, in a small part, does come to us because on day one of the pubs being opened again, like day one, midday, I had pissheads outside my flat, drunk as anything, starting fight with lampposts. There is a little bit of accountability that we need to take. And people like that need a bloody hard slap for being so fucking stupid. But then we have the lack of support and direction from the government. Now, in times of crisis, people generally look to a leader. That's part of human nature. So people typically look at Winston Churchill as better than what he actually was because there was a crisis on at the time. We tend to forget all the horrible things that he did because the Second World War happened. And when it comes to now this virus, I'm still seeing it where people are saying, well, Boris is doing the best that he can. I'm sorry, but if this is the best that he can, he shouldn't be fucking Prime Minister. That's how simple it is because we are the worst in Europe. And it's not like he can't look across the sea and see what's going on in the rest of Europe. He has intentionally isolated us from Europe. Right at the beginning with the PPE procurement scheme. And I still hear it from people. Oh no, people in Europe didn't get their PPE. Well, they did. That's a lie. Oh no, but they didn't tell us about it. They did. You've been lied to and now you're repeating the lie. And the problem is, when you repeat the lie, you're giving a free pass for the government to continue doing the worst possible job. There was just a report saying that, exposing that the government's new plan for when this second wave hits in good and proper, again, to completely fuck over care homes. In other countries, where they're sending people who come from care homes back to care homes, they wait until they test negative. And in some countries, they have to test negative twice before they will send them back to the care home. The leaked report exposes that this government isn't going to test them at all. And if they are testing positive, they don't care. Boris rabbited on and on and on. We're going to open schools. And he condemned Starmer over and over again because he wouldn't come out and say, yep, schools, yes, schools. Even though Starmer said if it's safe, yeah, I'd support it. There have already been a number of schools who have shut. Hell, there's been a handful in my area alone. The eat out to help out bullshit, which was insulting enough when you then take into consideration that the government has just turned around and said, oi, you fat fucks, lose some weight. You say that, but you've encouraged everyone to go to fast food restaurants, and not just restaurants, but fast food restaurants, and it's so much more expensive buying healthy food than anything else thanks to your policies. Okay, fine. So the second wave was always going to happen because we do not have a single competent member of the government, of the cabinet. Not one of them is competent. And people have been dropping out left, right and centre. You have members of the SAGE group, or former members of the SAGE group, coming out saying, look, this government is not listening to the advice we're giving. They're just not doing what we've advised them to do. Over and over and over again we see this. So of course we have to go into a second lockdown, and hopefully this time we'll do it properly, because we didn't do it properly the first time. And in addition to this, I sincerely hope people hold this government accountable this time, because there were far too many people who gave Boris a pass. Boris, who's had at least 6 holidays this year alone. Boris, who took his second holiday when the virus kicked in after everyone was screaming at him, this thing's coming, you need to fucking do something. There are too many failures for me to go through in one video. But here's the thing. We've got to get a handle on this, because the hospitals aren't coping. They're not coping because we've had 10 years of the Conservatives defunding the NHS and privatising it. Care homes aren't coping because we are being forced to take people who have the virus. And here's the reality of it. If we don't take them, they go on the streets. That's the reality of it. The people that we spend every single day looking after will go on the streets because the hospitals have been ordered to turf them out. It's all very well and good holding up the Nightingale hospitals as something amazing, but there were so few people to actually staff them, there was no fucking point of them being there. And while Boris in the last PMQs boasted so proudly that he's building 4 new labs, there are hundreds upon hundreds of suitable labs in this country who have been screaming from the get-go, we can do the tests, that the government have ignored. And as another side note, I did a video a few months ago because I've only had 1 COVID test and I work in a care home. Well, our second batch of tests turned up this week, and with that I discovered that our manager had been told that the first set of tests had all come back inconclusive. I did a video saying that it was extremely suspicious that it came back so soon, when friends of mine in different care homes had to wait a few days to get the results back. Now to find out the notifications I got were bogus. So let's stop saying that Boris has done the best he can. I mean, fuck, maybe that is true. Maybe Boris has done the best he can, but he is grotesquely incompetent and should not be Prime Minister. And this isn't a left political versus right political. This is someone needs to be actually fit for the job, and that's not Boris Johnson. Boris, who has ignored the pandemic, leading to the unnecessary deaths of tens of thousands of people in the UK, who's lied about the death toll and has thrown us into a no-deal Brexit, because even if the government do a massive U-turn and apologise, the fact that every single fucking Conservative agreed to break the law, well, that's destroyed our international reputation. But hey, at least it's a sunny Saturday.